Hey, what is going on, guys? My name is LuckyBunz. In today's video, we're going to find out if Zacian in its hero form is actually worth powering up in Pokemon Go. So as always, before we go ahead and get started with the video, if you guys do find this helpful and informative, I'd really appreciate if you could hit that like button down below. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump straight into it. So first of all, Zacian in its hero form is going to be available in raids until August 26 at 10 AM your local time. And the move pool that they actually gave to Zacian in its hero form is quite diverse. So we're going to talk about this a little bit more in detail when we go into the PvP section of this video, but let's go and take a look at what we have so far. So for the fast moves on Zacian, we're going to have Fire Fang, Snarl, Quick Attack, and Metal Claw. Now, I want to also mention that Zacian in its hero form is only going to be a fairy type Pokemon, but Zacian in its crown form is actually going to be a dual fairy type and steel type Pokemon. So it doesn't actually benefit from stab currently, but it definitely will in the future, assuming that it actually gets a decent move pool, which I'm assuming that it will. So for the charge moves that they gave Zacian in its hero form, it ended up getting Play Rough, Iron Head, Close Combat, and Wild Charge. So Play Rough is the only one that actually benefits from stab, but because it doesn't have a very fast move, I mean, it's really not that crazy right now. Now, unfortunately, we're not going to see Zacian get a very fast move in the future. It doesn't actually get Charm in the main series games, so yeah, a little bit disappointing there, but it's okay because Zacian is still going to be a powerhouse. So with the moveset out of the way, let's talk about the base stats for Zacian. So Zacian actually has an amazing base stat lineup here, even in its hero form. So it's going to have an attack stat of 254, a defense stat of 236, and an HP stat of 192. So this actually makes Zacian a very well-rounded Pokemon in terms of its stats, but like I mentioned earlier, it doesn't really benefit from stab because it doesn't have a very fast move, so yeah, it's kind of sad, I know. So with that being mentioned, let's dive on over to our next topic of the video. How does Zacian in its hero form perform in raids? So of course we're going to have Gardevoir in the number 1 spots here, then we're going to have Togekiss, and then we're actually going to have Zacian in its hero form. Despite not having Charm as the very fast move, Snarl and Play Rough is actually still pretty solid. Even Metal Claw and Play Rough is going to be pretty solid. And then after Zacian, we're going to have Granbull and Sylveon respectively. I had to actually run some custom calculations to find this out because for whatever reason, Pokebattler just wasn't showing Zacian in the raid pool. I'm not really sure if they're having problems on their site right now, but either way, I was able to put this together and yeah, Zacian in raids, surprisingly good. Actually a decent Pokemon, and then with its overall moveset, it could be pretty good for gym battles. Now with that being said though, how does Zacian actually fare in PvP? Because it actually has access to a decent move pool. It has access to 4 different fast moves and 4 different charge moves. So let's go ahead and take a look at those PvP scenarios right now. So in the Master League, Zacian actually ranks at about number 17 or number 18, depending on if you're going to go for Master League Classic or Open Master League, essentially level 50 version of Master League. And so the moveset that you're ideally going to want to run on Zacian in the Master League is going to be Snarl, Close Combat, and Play Rough. Now I do see some possibilities here to kind of mix up the moveset a little bit more, like you have access to Wild Charge as well, and then you also have access to Iron Head. Honestly, I wouldn't say Iron Head is anything too crazy, but Wild Charge does give you some possibility there, especially with Kyogre in that meta. You also have access to Fire Fang, so against a Steel-type Pokemon like Dialga or Metagross, that could actually prove to be quite useful. I'm not sure if it would honestly be meta-breaking, but you do have some possibilities there to mess around with the move pool a little, which I think is kind of cool. Now personally, I'm not a big fan of Master League in general in PvP. I would say Ultra League is probably my strongest league out of all 3 of the leagues, so I can't really give you too much insight in terms of how it is going to perform. Now with that being said though, I know that there are plenty of creators out there who have actually made videos on Zacian in its hero form in the Master League, so I definitely do recommend checking out their content to get a better insight in terms of how it actually performs. So if we take a look at the Ultra League right now, some of the more common Pokemon that you generally run into in my experience are going to be Pokemon like Giratina Altered Form, Cresselia, Registeel at times. You're also going to run into Swampert quite often. And if we take a look at the key losses here for Zacian in its hero form, it actually loses to Giratina, it loses to Cresselia, and it loses to Swampert. It beats out Obstagoon, it beats Charizard, Gyarados, Empoleon, and Gengar, which is okay, but quite honestly, the biggest threats and the most common Pokemon that I see are the pair of Giratina Altered Form and Cresselia. So in my opinion, I probably wouldn't recommend going for Zacian in its hero form in Ultra League. If you are a Master League player, I can't really tell you for sure, but at least out of my own experience, this is not a Pokemon that I would, necessarily run. And again, it's ranked at 286. It's not even within the top 100, so Ultra League, Zacian in its hero form, gonna get a pass from me. Now I do also want to mention if you end up going for Zacian in the Master League, you're gonna have to get the Hundo version of this, which might take a bit of time and it's gonna be very pay to win in terms of raiding. So you're gonna have to do quite a lot of raids and it's only here for like the next couple of days. I don't see that happening too realistically, but yeah, that's kind of what it takes to get a Master League ready Zacian. Anyways, though, let's move on over to our next topic here, which is essentially going to be the counters for Zacian if you do end up wanting to raid it. So, you know, we haven't talked about the crown form yet. We're going to talk about that real soon, but I just want to go over the counters real quick for Zacian. So basically, you just want to go with Steel-type Pokemon or Poison-type Pokemon. The most common counter would be Metagross with Bullet Punch and Meteor Mash. Then you also have Dialga with Metal Claw and Iron Head. A really good Poison-type Pokemon you guys can use that is kind of common is Roserade. Poison Jab and Sludge Bomb is going to be excellent. You also have Genesect if you guys were able to get that last year. You also have Pokemon like Scizor. But overall, I would say if you have the Metagross, then, you know, Metagross is the MVP in this category. So with the counters out of the way, let's go and talk about Zacian in its crowned form, which again isn't released in Pokemon Go currently, but this is definitely something that I'm very excited for in the future. So the attack stat on Zacian when it gets its crowned form is going to go from 254 to 332, and like I mentioned earlier, it's going to become a dual fairy type Pokemon and steel type Pokemon, which is excellent. Like, that gives it so much more coverage in the game, and it's also going to get access to its signature move from the main series games, Behemoth Blade, which is honestly so OP. I'm very excited to use that move in Pokemon Go. So basically this version of Zacian right now in its hero form isn't that crazy, and we have the crown form coming in the future. Like, I don't know when, it could be like in the next 2 years, because like this Hoopa event was so random, and you know, Gen 8 Pokemon coming before Gen 7 Pokemon was definitely odd. So we might not see Zacian in its crown form for quite some time. Therefore, if you guys want to grind it for Master League, you definitely can. I'm not really sure if we're going to get Zacian in its crown form anytime soon, but I do want to say that when its crown form does come into raids, I'm going to raid that one hard. I'm definitely going to try and accumulate a ton of candy and even some extra large candy for it, because that is going to be super good. It's definitely going to take the #1 steel type attacker in the game for sure. It's absolutely going to shred through Metagross. And of course, you also have Mega Metagross there too, but Zacian is going to be so solid. So overall, my final thoughts is use your free passes on this if you can. Do your Go Battle League battles and try to get it from the rank 20 rewards. I definitely think that just stockpiling some candy on this or even some extra large candy is going to be somewhat useful for the future when the crown form does eventually come back into rotation. But would I raid this hard? Would I try to get a Hundo right now? Honestly, I wouldn't, and even if I was a pay-to-play player in the game, I still wouldn't try to get a Hundo of this unless I was like collecting legendary Hundos. Overall, though, in terms of its meta relevance, right now it's not anything crazy. Crowned form in the future is what we really want to look forward to. So that's basically my consensus right there. When Zamazenta comes into rotation next week and when it gets its official move pool, we'll take a look at that Pokemon as well. Hopefully there is some spice there. That Pokemon is going to be high on defense, and for PvP, that is definitely something exciting. Anyways, though, that is going to do it for this video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the breakdown. You did find it helpful. If you did, please make sure to smash that like button down below. It helps me out a ton with the YouTube algorithm. And if you guys want to see more of these videos in the future, definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button as well, and I will see you all real soon in the next one.